Let's see how COVID has been doing. Um, but it's not up to date. Is this basically it all showed it when there's this huge spike in April, and it hasn't really been showing what's been happening since, unfortunately. Because now I guess as it's not as bad. So here we had April, May. Yeah, see, it's not. We don't know. It was going up, but we're the newest. How about global? Okay, so here we've got the countries. Okay, North America, Europe, Asia, excluding China and China. So there seems to be, uh, again, for some reason, it's all up to April 23. Isn't there something more recent? No. Hmm. So actually, there's a lot more recently. See, for me, there's like a big spike. Because in Europe, the bigger spike was like there at first. And so actually, Europe was a lot more after. This is quite interesting. Because like for me, this was when there was a lot, and then it sort of became more tranquil to me. But actually, there's way more COVID afterwards. So that's something that I wasn't even really particularly. I mean, I haven't been following all that much, so I wasn't really all that aware of it. So yeah, see, we definitely need a vaccine. I mean, yeah, maybe occasionally some people might have some ill effects from the vaccine, but like in comparison to the risk and to the problems that are posed by the virus, I really think it would be ridiculous not to get vaccinated. Um, yeah, I don't know. Is there any? I've got no viewers. Damn it! Damn it! How can I get viewers? Oh, oh. Um, COVID vaccination rate by country. Let's have a look at that. Okay, doses given 1.84 billion, fully vaccinated 419 million. So fully vaccinated is about 5% of the world population. So still not all that much. United States 40% fully vaccinated, India 3%, Brazil 10%, New Zealand 3.9 because I'm in New Zealand, so showing New Zealand. UK 37%, France 16%, Italy 19%. This is interesting. Updated 1 day ago, so this is fresh. This is from the 59th of May, of what was I saying, 29th of May. Um, Italy 19%, Mexico 10%, Turkey 15%, Russia 8%, Spain 19%, Indonesia 4%, Canada 5%, Poland 17%, Chile 42%, Morocco 14%, UAE 39%. So you can obviously, by and large, the richer countries are getting more vaccinated. Um, so again, high numbers in Singapore, 28%. On the other hand, Australia, only 2%. So it really is quite variable. Mongolia, 34%. See, they've done a lot. Uruguay, 28%. Nepal, only 2%. But so everybody's getting sort of vaccinated. Egypt's are hardly getting vaccinated, 0.3%. But it's good. Like people are getting vaccinated. Afghanistan, 0.3%. Mozambique, 0.2. Yeah. So these poor countries are really lagging. And probably the COVID cases are also a lot lower than we know. There's probably just lots of undocumented COVID cases because there's just not much testing. Um, so that's the deal. And you see, New Zealand not much because New Zealand can afford to have not much because of its restrictive quarantine. So that's why I guess we figured it's okay to just let other countries have more vaccines first, where they need it. And I guess that's a valid point. But definitely we would need to get more vaccines to poorer countries. Israel, they're the highest. I can see that. 57%. Wow. Good on you. Um, so, hmm, I don't know what to do now. What are we gonna look at? Do you want to look at some opinions on let's see, what Israel COVID vaccine? Uh, oh, but for some reason it increased a lot in in February, January, February, March, and then it's actually uh been stopping. Oh, Pfizer's using Israel to trial their vaccine. Here's what it shows. Okay, but this was in February. COVID-19 vaccine impact in Israel, way out of Lancet, with a Pfizer BioNTech acceptable cookies. Okay. In December 2020, Israel initiated a national campaign to vaccinate its population with Pfizer BioNTech's mRNA COVID-19 vaccine. Blah blah. Israel's Ministry of Health recommended a two-dose schedule with a 21-day interval between doses. Israel delivered more than 10 million doses within 4 months. By April 19, 2021, 54% of the entire population of 9.1 million people and 80% of people aged 50 years or older had received two doses. Factors contributing to Israel's rapid rollout included small geographical and population sizes, advanced information technology that allowed prioritization, allocation, and documentation of vaccines for eligible individuals, effective cooperation between government and community-based health funds, um, and which were charged with providing vaccines to those insured and experiencing rapid, large-scale emergency responses. Vaccines were rolled out around the time of Israel's third and largest wave of SARS-CoV-2 infections, with a peak 7-day moving average of 8,000 new infections per day, which resulted in a 2-month national lockdown. Okay, so anyway, from March 2021 onwards, Israel reported a rapid decline in COVID-19 cases across all age groups despite the easing of lockdown restrictions and reopening of education and commerce. By April 19, 2021, the 7-day moving average of new cases dropped to 149 per day, indicating effective control of the pandemic within the country's borders. The marked reduction in new cases prompted the Israeli government to ease nationwide restrictions, including the discontinuation of face covering use in open spaces. So it's looking like it's pretty effective. Uh, so then they're just sort of looking, but then it's a pretty long thing. I don't know if there's much more to say. You know, blah blah. Anyway. Oh, I've got a viewer. Hello, King. Israel is the greatest. I've seen this article. They reference the USA as the 110th country. Hi. Hi, Bronze Age Chad. Um, yeah. What do you mean 110th country in what? Can you tell me? Um, do they say, is it, can I find 110? No. I don't know what that's about. Anyway, um, COVID-19. So Israel has done a super job. So this is really why you should get vaccinated, basically. I mean, we're seeing that the cases here are going down as a result of vaccination, presumably. So, uh, obviously, I mean, and obviously the other studies have indicated that vaccines are effective. So like I can understand that you'd be like anti-vaccination, just like obviously if there were no viruses in the world, right? If there are no like diseases that could be prevented through vaccines, then obviously getting yourself a shot would be a bad idea because it's true that you're injecting yourself with stuff that is probably not too healthy for you. So obviously, just in and of itself, I recognize that vaccines are probably slightly detrimental to your health. But the thing is that in comparison, well, COVID is a lot worse for your health, and likewise, like all these other shots that you're getting, like measles, like measles is pretty terrible, and people don't realize that back in the day, like measles was like a scary thing, and that people would just get permanently damaged from it on occasion. And in comparison, the amount of people that get damaged from measles shots is a lot less, if at all. And I think probably there are. It's probably more subtle. He's probably just more like, a subtle. weakening on your body. That's my guess, just because these adjuvants are toxins, and I think typically, and like exposure to toxins, presumably would weaken your body, presumably would make you, vulnerable to developing some other diseases later on. So, I mean, I acknowledge that, but I still think that it's better overall to avoid, I mean, to prevent the diseases rather than avoid getting vaccinated. Um, so if you're still watching Bronze Age Chad, would you mind telling me why since for now apparently you're my sole viewer for this stream since I just started a few minutes ago. Um, if you're still watching me, just tell me like what you'd be interested in seeing and discussing. That way it'd just be, it's just useful. In any case, I'm posting this afterwards on YouTube, so it doesn't really matter what I'm talking about, just as long as it's something that some people can like maybe find interesting. But yeah, just if you can write a comment, and that way I can know if there's anything in particular that you might be interested in. Um, but yeah, and I was looking. I don't know if you saw this. I was looking at the vaccination rates of these different countries, and so we've seen that Israel is actually the most vaccinated of all the countries, and obviously by and large, it's the richer countries who are most vaccinated. And the least are like really poor countries here: Afghanistan 0.3%, Senegal 0.4%. Um, so that is that. But obviously, I mean, overall the numbers. I mean the numbers of new cases in the pandemic should certainly start dropping pretty quickly as vaccination becomes more prevalent. And oh, okay, here we've got oh, this is New Zealand worldwide. Yeah, so here we can see the rise in vaccinations. This is pretty interesting. So it basically started more or less at the beginning of the year, 2021, and here we've got fully vaccinated 5.4% of the total population. Um, so that is not bad. And so this is the first graph is at least one dose. I mean, the top line is at least one dose, and the bottom line is fully vaccinated. So it seems to be increasing like pretty linearly at this point. It's no longer really increasing like exponentially or anything. But um, of course, this is going to take quite a while. I mean, at this linear rate, if we said that basically over you get 5% of the block if you draw this line back down. That's over March, April, May. Over 3 months, you get 5% of the population vaccinated. So it would take 20 times that, right? It would take 60 months to get everybody vaccinated. So that's at this current rate of vaccination, it would still take 60 months, which is like quite a lot, right? It's like 5 years. Um, so um, that's obviously going to be a long, long time. So hopefully this can be sped up a bit. Um, yeah, I don't know whether that will be the case, and hopefully the virus won't have mutated excessively by then. So yeah. Hmm. Now, what can we discuss? I don't know. Let's have a look at people's take on um, discussing COVID vaccine opinion video. Oh, just opinion. Videos are actually slower. This is one thing that this is one reason I don't really like. Uh, 30% of NZ are vaccine skeptics. Um, New York Times. I normally have an account for this, so I can't do this because then you're gonna see my real name. Damn it. Okay, and I guess otherwise, or can I? Oh, I guess I can because I'm getting a free thing. If world leaders don't act now, the end of the COVID pandemic may come with a horrible form of herd immunity as more transmissible variants that are taking hold around the world kill millions. There's troubling new evidence that the B.1.617.2 variant first identified in India could be far more transmissible than even the B.1.1.7 variant first identified in Britain, which contributed to some of the deadliest surges around the world. In countries with widespread vaccination like the United States and Britain, we can expect that COVID cases, hospitalizations, and deaths will continue to decline or stay low, especially because lab tests and real-world experience show that vaccines appear to defend recipients well against the severe effect of both variants. For much of the rest of the world, though, this more transmissible new variant could be catastrophic. The evidence is not yet conclusive because the data is preliminary and figuring out if the variant is more transmissible isn't easy. It could be spreading rapidly in an area because of chance. Maybe it got there because of before other variants and found a susceptible population or got lucky and seen in a megacluster. If a variant is seen more frequently in a country's genomic databases, it could just be because travelers who are often tested more routinely are bringing it in from another country where it is already dormant. One key measure that has been used in previous outbreaks to figure out if a variant was more transmissible was to look at secondary attack rates in non-travel settings. How many people who come into close contact with an infected person get the virus themselves? The greater the number of these contacts getting the virus, on average, the greater the likelihood that a variant's transmissibility is greater. Data on secondary attack rates released on Saturday by British Public Health Agency, similar to our own Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, suggests that this variant, first seen in India, may be substantially more transmissible among close contacts than even the already highly transmissible B.1.1.7. No, period. Report published the same agency. Okay, so just saying that it's like that. Um, so just saying there's higher transmissibility. Okay, so just saying higher transmissibility. Exponential threat. So if a virus that could previously infect 3 people on average can now infect 4, it looks like a small increase. Yet if you start with just 2 infected people in both scenarios, just 10 iterations later, the former will have caused about 40,000 cases, while the latter will be more than 524,000, a nearly 13-fold difference. Morally and practically, this emergency demands immediate action. Widespread vaccination of those most vulnerable where the threat is greatest. Waiving vaccine patients is fine, but unless it's tied to a process that actually increases the supply of vaccines, it's a little bit more than expressing thoughts and prayers after a tragedy. Officials from all nations that produce vaccines need to gather for an emergency meeting immediately to decide how to commandeer whatever excess capacity they have to produce more through whatever means necessary. Because of the threat of increased transmissibility, and since the evidence at hand indicates that all of the vaccines, even the Chinese and Russian versions, appear to be highly effective against severe disease or worse, the focus should be on manufacturing and distributing the highest number of doses possible as fast as possible. Yep, so I absolutely agree with all of this. So first of all, yeah, we just need to get more, more resources. I agree with this. Just need to get more vaccine resources to just produce as many of the vaccines as possible and just get them given to everyone as much as possible. Um, and there are other countries that are facing the same kind of shortages that are seen in India, Nepal, Philippines, South Africa, Nigeria. Mm, yeah, and see, lots of people die when they don't have oxygen, but they don't when they do. That's what they're saying. Um, are there any comments here? I guess not. This is the wrong way to distribute badly needed vaccines. Global Alliance to shore poor and moderate income countries. Ah, limited articles. I've got to log in, which means I've got to stop streaming. Is anybody watching? Is anybody watching? I guess not. Okay, Bronze Age chat or anyone else who's still watching, I'm ceasing to watch because I want to log in and I don't want you to see my username. So that's that. Over and out.